Hi everyone, I'm very excited to be here today and grateful for the opportunity. So today we're gonna have a look at the founding landscape for startups developing solutions addressing the climate crisis. So big, complicated topic. But why is that important? Well, according to the International Energy Agency, almost 50% of the emissions reductions that we need to achieve to meet net zero by 2050 depends on technologies that are not yet being commercialized. So I think this points out very well the urgency and the need that we have to develop such technologies. Of course, technology alone won't fix climate change, but the need for this solution is more pressing than ever. And our response is, as this chart points out very dramatically, insufficient. We've been seeing a lot of capital, more funding, more initiatives, very clever people entering in the space, but we have to do more quickly and better. So I think a good place to start, I'll try to go back, I just gave you a bit of context, is to define what is climate tech. I guess most of the people in this room have heard of this term a few times in the last years. There's been a lot of hype and attention to the topic. Nevertheless, the definition and understanding exactly what's included under this category, it's not as intuitive. So as part of our job as a data provider and researcher in the climate tech space, we've been spending a lot of time to draw the line and say what's included and what is not. So we came up with our own definition and said that well, all innovative products, services, solutions, and technologies addressing at least one of the environmental objectives of the EU taxonomy will fall under the definition of climate tech. I'll help you out and say what are the environmental objectives. So it's 6 of them. It's climate change mitigation, adaptation, but also pollution prevention and control, the transition towards a circular economy, and I missed 2, biodiversity and ecosystems, and protection and restoration of marine and natural resources. So again, any innovation addressing one of these topics will fall under our criteria and therefore be part of the analysis I'm going to present you. So be ready, I know it's very late. I'm gonna show you a lot of numbers and charts. I'll try to make it interesting, but if you stay with me, I promise you're gonna learn something new about this exciting and important topic. There you go. So first things first, we've seen the chart initially, but 2022 has been a record year for funding in climate tech. 82 billion invested in US, Canada, and Europe. This is great, especially because 2021 was a record year. 2022 was even better. We've seen a 20% increase, especially in a time where VC and technology in general has been going down. So these are data for global VC. 35% decrease, climate tech went up. Yes, and this means now that climate tech accounts for 18% of global venture investment, equity only. It's a lot, it's too little, we probably need more, but that's what we have been seeing. And another factor that I think is interesting to highlight is over here I'm counting the mega deals, so investment above 100 million USD. We've seen this number going up despite the slowdown, despite any kind of crisis, and so the maturity of the ecosystem is there, and it's getting clearer and clearer that climate tech is there to stay. Yes, looking very quickly at the different financing instruments, equity is the most popular one. Grants and debts are also important ones. Zooming into them, equity, we still see that it's been a record year also for equity investment, just slightly above the year before. We had this big peak in Q1 2022, then the slowdown hit, and we've seen decreasing investment ever since. Also, this first Q1 2023, the same trend was confirmed. In total, though, the amount was above the year before. If we look at other sources of financing, this should be grants. Yes, we've seen an increase 2.5x from the year before. A lot of policy, a lot of government activities, the US with the Inflation Reduction Act, Europe with the Industrial Green Deal, announcements and commitments from the UK, India, Japan, all over the world. We're going to see more money flowing into the space to deploy these technologies. Another thing that I didn't know, or that was interesting for me to learn, was to see the large institutions, large banks, the ones we all know, backing very ambitious and very innovative projects with billions. This number, it's not that much, so we need definitely more. But what I wanted to highlight was that this is already happening, the trend is growing, and financial institutions are already part of the equation. Good. Quick change and a comparison of Europe and the US. So Europe has been growing faster than the US. That might be a first in the VC ecosystem, but specifically we've been growing 26% faster than the US. In terms of deal sizes, we are still a bit behind, both in average or median. The US still attracts larger deals. And in terms of where this money goes, Europe has been betting on a number of things. The fastest growing year over year has been industry. And in the US, it's been a lot of carbon capture with this massive increase year over year. Then I thought it was nice to close and by focusing on 3 topics that I thought that were very defining for 2022 and probably will be also for the years to come. These are energy, industry, and carbon. Let's start from energy. So $1 out of every $2 invested in climate tech went into energy, so very, very significant share of capital. And we've seen an increase of 15 billion year over year. That's a 56% increase. It was even stronger in Europe. Probably the geopolitical and the crisis and the war in Ukraine were one of the drivers to motivate investors to go in this direction, but that's a big jump. And next, if we look specifically at the steps of the value chain, so where this money have been going, storage and distribution have been growing the fastest year over year, and I think this is very promising because, well, that's where we probably need most innovation, so it's nice to see investors betting in these important areas for the transition. Industry. There is not much of talks about this sector, so anything related to manufacturing, hard to abate, emissions and so on. This is a real challenge. I think it's very nice to highlight that we have a massive increase in funding last year. It's a 3.6 increase year over year, so a lot happening in this space. And now it accounts for 11% of total investment in climate. What I think it's very nice to highlight is that if we look at the top most funded solutions in 2022, everyone will expect to see EVs, batteries, hydrogen, and solar. Not many would expect to see steel up there. So that was the case for last year. It's probably an outlier, but I think it's important to know at least. Good. The final topic will be carbon. A lot has been happening in carbon. That's a massive opportunity and challenge that we need to address as a society. The question that many ask is it really all about measuring the carbon footprints and offsetting them? Part of the answer is, well, yes, there's been a lot of activity in these areas, a lot of money going in these important areas, which are part of the solutions, but not the entire solution, but also in the capturing step, so the more hardware and technology-intensive solutions to capture CO2. In this case, I'm focusing on direct air capture, so using machines to get CO2 out of the air. We've seen this 10x increase year over year. It was going from very little to something, but a lot has been happening in this space, and I think it will be exciting to see what's going to happen there. A very quick reality check about direct air capture. These are numbers from the International Energy agency. I think today we are looking at a 0.01 megatons capture capacity per year, and we need to increase this by a factor of 6,000 by 2030 to meet the 2050 scenario. So that's the size of the opportunity, and that's how much we have to move forward. Very good. This was an extract of our latest analysis. It's the state of climate tech. We had also contributions from investors, thought leaders, innovators, and so on. You can download it for free on our website. This is the link. It's a very long and dense report, but hopefully you find it useful and a nice resource to have at hand. These are my contact details. In case you want to chat, I'm very happy to connect. Thank you very much.